Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. And in today's video, as you can see, we will be predicting the 2025-26 Premier League table for the season. It is the Monday and the season kicks off on Friday with Liverpool versus Bournemouth, the first game of the season. And obviously my team, Burnley, play on the Saturday against Spurs, away at Spurs. And I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's subscribed over the past few months. We've hit 270 subscribers, and that's just mind-blowing for me as a small channel, going slowly but surely, doing a lot more in real life videos, darts, and may even try and do a football video on my local five-a-side pitch. And I just wanted to let you guys know how much I appreciate every single one of you who do watch the videos and the channel and subscribe. So yeah, let's just get into the video of this. We've got Premier League winners, 2nd to 5th for the Champions League, 6th for the Europa League, 7th for the Conference League, and then 8th to 17th, and then 18th, 20th, obviously relegation. We're going to go from left to right. We're going to go from Bournemouth to Forest. Now, Bournemouth, real good season. Last season, defied all expectations of what people thought they would do and where they would finish. We've lost a few key players. Now, can they get a few good players in before the end of the transfer window? Possibly. So what I'm going to do is just put them in that bracket, and then we'll order the Premier League table at the end when I've got everyone in this. Arsenal, we're going to put into the 2nd to 5th bracket. Villa had a good season last season. I think they've got Europa League this season. Not really added any players. They've kept core of the squad, and for me, I think they could probably get Conference League this season, because they are in. I'm sure they are in the Europa League this season. For me, I do think they will finish 7th and be a good team to watch this season. And it's just one of them where they've kept that core squad. They've not really added anything, but they've still got a core squad that know how to play with each other, what to do in certain situations of a season. So for that reason, I am putting them 7th for a Conference League position. Now here comes the big one. My bias comes out of the window for my team, Burnley. The bias is literally flung out the window. I'm not being biased towards my team at all, and I really think we will struggle this season. I really do. Even though we've got Kyle Walker, Martin Dubravka, Leslie Ogochukwu, and Amanda Broder up front, there's talks I've seen on Twitter or X that we are interested in hopefully bringing back Nathan Tella with Leeds. I think Leeds, Brighton, Forest and Brentford are interested in him as well, or keeping tabs on him. And yes, we've lost James Trafford. Yes, we've lost Ian Riley and our club captain, Josh Brown, because he didn't sign a new contract. But we've kept most of the squad that kept us up. Well, I say most of it. We've kept all of them. That got us up into the Premier League. And for me, I think we could... It's going to be... We're going to be in a relegation battle, and I think it's going to be... We're going to either finish 18th or 17th. It's going to be one of them seasons where it could be any of the promoted sides that could possibly survive just by the skin of the teeth, or all 3 promoted sides go down for a 3rd consecutive season in a row. We don't know. Chelsea, nothing much to say. Chelsea going in the 2nd to 5th bracket, and with the positions they've got, the players they've got, they've brought in João Pedro, buying Xavi Simons. there's nothing much to say. They've got Cole Palmer, they've got every single person and player that you could think of that are quality, and I think for me they're going to be in that bracket. Like I say, I'll order it once every team is in the tier, and it's going to be, like I say, Chelsea are going to be that one to watch in the top 5 this season, definitely, because João Pedro's already shown that he can score goals in the World Cup of football. Will he be able to do it in the Premier League? Possibly. Along with Arsenal, they've got Victor Gyökeres and Christian Novak from Brentford. Is Gyökeres what Arsenal need to just punch above Liverpool to get first? Possibly. We don't know that. He's a good player, can score goals, can create chances for Arsenal. He did well at Sporting, he scored a lot of goals, and for that reason I say, Arsenal and Chelsea are definitely in that 5th bracket. Crystal Palace is an interesting one. Now, they had a good season last season. They won the FA Cup against Man City. And then they just won the Community Shield yesterday against Liverpool after a 2-2 draw and then winning on penalties. I do feel a bit for Crystal Palace and the Crystal Palace fans, because they've just found out the fate today, recording this on the Monday morning. Well, obviously it's Monday afternoon, it's 5 to 2, so near enough 2 o'clock. This morning they found out that they are to play the Conference League this season because the court have deemed what everyone saw the UEFA say they broke rules, and I am one for the rules, but I don't think Palace have broke the rules for me personally. For Palace to be not in the Europa League this season it's an absolute outrage, especially because they've won a major trophy in England. They've won the FA Cup, and that's something special because that trophy then gets you into the Europa League. It basically means nothing now. If, say, I'm not going to say my club Burnley, but you think Brentford, say Brentford for example, Brentford win the FA Cup. Are they in the Europa League? Yes. Will they get the same prompt as Palace? Yes. Will they have done it before? Yes. I do feel for Palace and the fans, but that's the thing, you've got to pay the price for if you don't do what you're supposed to do quickly. So I do think Palace will have a good season again, and I think they're going to be in that bracket. Everton, again, new stadium bounce. It's going to be a pretty good season for them. I think they're going to do quite well in the new stadium, and there's going to be a hostile atmosphere when you do go to the Everton Stadium. And as of recording this, I don't know how many players they've actually got in or what quality players they've got in, but they've kept that, again, core strength and core of the team, and I do think they will be in that bracket of 8th to 17th. Like I said, we'll order the table as once we've got everyone in. Leeds, yeah, they're going in bottom 3, so I do apologise to Mini Vinter, Simon of the Sidemen. If you know who I'm talking about, then you know he's a big Leeds fan. For me, they've not really signed any quality. Well, they might have signed quality players, but not Premier League quality. You know, they've not really signed a striker that can help them in the Premier League. So for that reason, they will be in the relegation zone with my team Burnley. But it's going to be a struggle for the 3 teams that came up, I think, this season. Liverpool, there's nothing much to say. Liverpool, if they can get Alexander Isak from Newcastle, I honestly and genuinely think Liverpool can win the Premier League for the next 4 to 5 seasons if they get Isak in. Or if they get Yoane Wissa, that he's talked about on Twitter, they're keeping tabs on Yoane Wissa. Now, Liverpool played Crystal Palace yesterday. Ekitike scored within his first 4 minutes of his English debut for Liverpool. But when Arne Slot took him off, Liverpool looked very leggy. They didn't know what to do because they hadn't had a recognised number 9 because they sold Diaz to Bayern Munich. They sold Darwin Nunez. Obviously, we know what happened with Diogo Jota. They lost Diogo in a car accident along with his brother. But for them three, if it was, say, Luis Diaz playing up front, they'd have Darwin Nunez on bench or Diogo on bench to fetch on in that number 9 role. Taking Ekitike off, they had no one else in that number 9 role to play, apart from Salah or Gakpo. They hadn't got Diaz, Nunez, Jota, which is kind of a bummer for if you love watching Liverpool. Liverpool is my second team. I love watching Liverpool, and especially last season, they did wonders last season. And I think if they've kept more of that core squad, they just need to add, I think, Isak or Yoane Wissa, and they are set, I think, for the next 4 or 5 seasons. But yeah, Sunderland. Well, what can you say about Sunderland? They've spent 130 million quid, I think it is, 125 or upwards of that. Now, if you know, about 2 seasons ago, Burnley came up with Vincent Kompany. We spent £100 million on players we didn't even know. No Premier League experience at all. Didn't even know how to pronounce the names of some of the players that we got in. You're spending a lot. And you've got to get them players that have just come in to gel. And if you can't do that, you are screwed in the Premier League because of the attacking threat that other teams pose. Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, City, even United, Spurs. You're going to make yourselves vulnerable because you've got to get that team to gel quick enough for you to get points early in the season. Now, we do play, I think, Sunderland. It is the second game of the season at home, our first home game of the season. That's going to be an interesting one. That is going to be an interesting one to watch. Is that to see if we can beat Sunderland. We did it last season at home. No, we didn't. We drew at home. 0-0. 2 James Trafford's penalty saves, and we lost away at Sunderland at the Stadium of Light early in that season, last season. So it's going to be a struggle, I think, for all promoted sides that went up. Man City, they're going to be in that top 5 bracket. They're going to be. They've got Erling Haaland. I don't know who else they brought in, but like I said, they've kept most of that core squad. They are losing Jack Grealish on loan to Everton. As of recording this, we've got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano, and Jack Grealish is going on loan to Everton this season. Will it work? Maybe. We don't know. Jack's been kind of stricken with not being able to get into the England setup or the City lineup. And yeah, Man City and their rivals, Man United, have done a bit of business this summer, and they've got Benjamin Sesko, Bryan Mbeumo, Matheus Cunha. That's a good front three. And then you've got Amad Diallo. And then I think they want to sell Garnacho, possibly Rasmus Højlund. Midfield, not so much. Defence, again, not so much. And then keeper, I don't know if they've still got... Well, they do still have Andre Nana, but will he be their main number 1 this season? Probably not. I don't know the ins and outs of Man United, but I do think United could have a real... It could be... They could have a real good season, or they could have a real torrid season where, again, they finish in that bracket of 8th to 17th. It's not likely they could, but it is likely they could, because this season, this is probably the strongest Premier League season I've seen for any team in the top half. So I think for that particular, I think it's going to either be Europa League place or Champions League place for United. And I'm going to put United in 6th for a Europa League position. No, I'm not. I'm going to put them into that top 5 bracket because Matheus Cunha, Mbeumo and Sesko up front for United is a real threat. It's a real threat. Now, the next team, what can I say? You've got Newcastle, the laughing stock of the transfer window. Going for Bryan Mbeumo, losing it to Man United. Going for Liam Delap, losing to Chelsea. And Mohamed Kudus went from West Ham to Tottenham. They were in for him. And Johan Visser could be going to Newcastle. Don't know if Liverpool hijack or Spurs, because Spurs are in for him as well. They lost out to Benjamin Sesko to Man United. They are the laughing stock of the transfer window. The richest club in the world. But yeah, complaining about PSR. Well, the only reason why they are complaining about PSR, since the new owners have took over, they've not really sold anyone. They've really not sold anyone. So they've only got themselves to blame why they can't spend money, because the players they're going for are like, well, hang on a minute, you've not sold hardly any of your players. Where am I going to fit into this team? Am I going to be first choice? Am I going to be sitting on the bench? What am I going to be doing in the team? So they think like James Trafford. He went from us to City again. And Newcastle weren't really happy about that. But when City had a buyback clause and a sell-on clause, there's nothing really Newcastle could have done. So James Trafford had his head turned by going back to Man City, trying to be number 1 goalkeeper for Man City. It's not good. I think they're going to be in that bracket of mid-table to lower mid-table. Spurs, I think Spurs get UEFA Europa League this season. I do. I think with the signing of Mohamed Kudus, they've got Richarlison, and yes, they've lost Heung-min Son because he left now. They've lost the club captain. They've lost James Maddison for, I think, majority of the season through an ACL injury. But for me, because they've kept majority of that core midfield, core strength of the team, I do think they could get Europa League. They've won Europa League, Champions League this season by winning the Europa League. They do play on Wednesday against PSG in the Super Cup. I'm hoping that they do win that against PSG, and then they play us on a Saturday, and I hope we can beat Spurs, which I don't think will happen. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting season to see Spurs under Thomas Frank, especially seeing Brentford under Thomas Frank's a brilliant campaign for every Brentford fan to watch. West Ham kept more of the, again, core squad. Lost Danny Ings he didn't renew his contract. Lost Mikel Antonio, didn't renew his contract. Added a few players here and there. Mid-table, it's going to be mid-table. Wolves, again, lost Matheus Cunha. I'm going to put him in that mid-table bracket. Yeah, I do think Wolves, with losing Cunha, I don't think really adding many players. They're going to be in that bracket of mid-table to lower mid-table. I think I have made a mistake here as well. We'll put Brighton. Brighton have made a good go of it in the last few seasons, and I think, you know what? I think Villa are going to get that. I think they're just going to miss out. I think Brighton get Conference League again. They're not Brighton. I think Brighton are in the. I don't know where they finished. I can't remember. I'll have to look at the table after this. But Brighton, they've been the underdogs for quite a few seasons, and they've just exceeded expectations. They were going to go down mid-table, whatever, and they've just climbed and climbed and climbed and climbed. And for me, this is the season I think they get into a European place again. Fulham, not really sold anyone, not really signed anyone. What can you say? Yeah, it's going to be one of them seasons for Fulham where not really signed anyone, not really sold anyone. Still got the core squad from last season. Can do well. They know how to handle a Premier League and a Premier League campaign. So yeah, the next team for me, 17th. They are going 17th for me because they've lost Mbeumo, Thomas Frank, Christian Norgard. They could be losing Johan Visser. Yes, they've brought in Henderson for experience, but John Henderson's losing at half a yard. But again, it could be anyone's game at this point in a relegation battle. Forest are going to go just below Spurs. So that is the table. I'm going to order it now and tell you why I think these teams are going to go where they are. The top 5, well, top 7 are definitely a definite. Top 8 are definitely a definite. I think Forest are definitely probably going to finish in that bracket of higher to lower mid table. Now, they are in the Europa League this season due to Palace's demotion to the Conference League because of the the thing of what Palace have gone through, and it's not fair, but those are the rules. I'm afraid you've got to stick up and stick to it. You can't really break rules. But yeah, Bournemouth I think will finish in 10th. I think they will finish in 10th. They'll have another strong season, and even though they've lost a few key players, they can still do well. They've got a lot of good players to do well this season. I think for me, I don't know. I think Newcastle finish 11th. With what's gone on with Newcastle, yes, they've still got a lot of players from last season, but I think Isak's situation will have probably unsettled the squad and the transfers that they could have done if they'd just put the money where the mouth is. They could have possibly been in that bracket for me, in the top 5, 6, 7 bracket. But for me, I think they will finish quite a lot lower this season because they'll be fighting on all 4 fronts. They've got Champions League, Premier League, then they'll have the FA Cup and Carabao Cup. If they do not, if Isak isn't, if he's going to stay, he won't play because he wants to leave to go to Liverpool. Now I think Palace will have a good season. I think Palace will finish 12th. And then Fulham next with Everton, then West Ham, then Wolves and Brentford. Us, I'm going to say us and then Leeds, then Sunderland to finish rock bottom. But any of these 3, including obviously Burnley, could replace them 3, West Ham, Wolves, Brentford. But I think it could be this. I think it could be that. I think we could just stay up and scrape staying up. I don't know why, but we've got experience in the team. But that, for me, is the final of the Premier League season table. And like I said, Liverpool champions with Arsenal 2nd, Chelsea in 3rd, Man City in 4th, United in 5th getting Champions League football, Aston Villa getting Europa League with Brighton getting Conference League next season, with Spurs in 8th, Forest in 9th, Bournemouth in 10th, Newcastle in 11th, Palace in 12th, Fulham in 13th, Everton in 14th, West Ham in 15th, Wolves in 16th, Brentford just escaping relegation in 17th, with my team Burnley going down in 18th, Leeds going down in 19th, and Sunderland rock bottom of the Premier League in 20th. Now, like I say, we'll revisit this at the end of the season, and we'll give myself points based on where teams finished and all that. So I do hope that this Premier League table comes into clutch with what I've done. I do think Newcastle will have a bit of a torrid season, not buying anyone, losing out on a lot of transfers. We've done well this season for transfers, Burnley. Can we add a few more? I've heard rumours and murmurs about Nathan Tella. Apparently us, Leeds, Forest, Brighton and Brentford are keeping tabs on Nathan Tella to bring him back to England. I do hope he chooses us to, and get some unfinished business, because he thought he was coming back to Burnley anyway when we came up into the Premier League under Vincent Kompany, but that wasn't the case. And I do hope that he does come back to us with some unfinished business of his. But yeah, I do hope you've all enjoyed this different video and different style of video on my channel. Be sure to turn the post notifications on and click the subscribe button while you're over there. But yeah, hope you've all enjoyed. Like, subscribe, and peace.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me, even if it's fake.